Hi everyone, and welcome back to my PPPD series. This is part 2, and I'm so excited to share with you everything that I've been learning and discovering, and to share with you how much more progress that I have made. Have I backtracked? Have I relapsed? What has been my process? What is the most realistic process for everybody that has this disorder? Because it's like a silent disease where we're experiencing this wave of dizziness and this imbalanced feeling in the head, and it comes with all sorts of little symptoms that we experience individually. And I really hope to help to shine a light on that we are capable of healing, but we really do have to go through the process of getting to know our healed self. So the last time I shared with you my part 1 PPPD recovery story, I hadn't even finished the Rock Steady book. I had only listened to the first few chapters. And since then, I have listened to the rest of the audio, and I have re-listened to chapters 1 through 4 or 5. And I also ordered the book online. And this is helping me with having a reference to the questions that I've been asking myself in my journal lately. So until recently, it is January of 2023, I hadn't busted out the journal yet. And so that was, part of my process, and no shame in that whatsoever. It wasn't what I needed at that time. I was fully absorbing and trying to understand and wrap my head around the concept of neuroplasticity and getting to know how to rewire the brain. And listening to the book was so informative and helped me out tremendously to understand. And I now am seeing that this process of rewiring the brain, it goes beyond just listening to a book. Obviously, the next step for me was to bust out the journal, and I'm no longer resisting the journal. So this is my journal. I got it as a gift recently for Christmas, and I didn't, it wasn't like, here's your journal for your recovery. It was like, a blank book full of pages, and I started journaling. So this is the first time in my life that I'm journaling, and I realized that I wasn't actually recovering until I started journaling, but that's okay because I did recover a lot. So this has been my story with the relapse. So this has been me for the last month. And maybe it's because I hadn't started journaling yet, but this is me for the last few months. I've been high symptoms, low symptoms, high symptoms, low symptoms. And the first thing I kind of recognize after, a week or 2 or 3 of just feeling low and high and low and high. And this includes, depressed, happy. And I'm not saying that I go into slumps of depression. I just notice that I'm feeling bummed that I am symptomatic, or I'm happy because I'm not taking it personally, or I'm not really feeling symptomatic. So I go back and forth between bummed and happy. And recently I recognized that my body is experiencing fear and it's experiencing tension and doesn't feel safe. And I realized I kind of disassociated me with my body, and I decided to say my body is experiencing a feeling of fear and is tense and scared. I'm not afraid, I'm not fearful, but my shoulders, man, oh man. It's not like my shoulders were up to here and I was always like this, but I do have a degree of tension in my shoulders. That this was step 1 for me recently, where I was like, wow, I've got a lot of releasing of my shoulders to do. And so I noticed instantly that started to reduce my symptoms a little bit. And that was a lot for me. A little bit is a lot. So releasing the tension and recognizing that the tension goes up into my head, because part of my symptoms is I feel a pressure in my head, and it's like an anxiety pressure. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I get it now. I can disassociate me and stop being afraid. Is it me that's scared? Do I have fear? Do I have anxiety? No, my body is just having this automatic reaction of fight or flight, and I need to teach it how to be calm and how to relax. So started releasing the tension from my neck and my body. And I set 4 reminders on my phone, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and 7 p.m. to body scan and to release tension. And those reminders really helped me. I was like on it for a few days, and then I noticed that I was ignoring those notifications after a few days, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But I am very grateful that I started releasing tension. And then I started the wonderful project of journaling, and I had to prioritize journaling, and it wasn't easy for me, but this book has the resources at the end of the chapters, and it's in writing. And I needed the book because actually there are bonus exercises, and I believe she has these exercises on her website, on Joey's website, and I'll put the website right here. So she's got bonus exercises, and she's got all the homework essentially to do. And this homework, this is real homework. This is what we have to do. We can't pass the class unless we do our homework, and we get to it when we're ready. So the home practice exercises, I have them now in hard copy, and I got the journal out. And what I did was I took a second notebook, and I kind of I needed to get it all together in my head. Like, what am I supposed to write in my journal? What am I supposed to do daily to really make this happen, to really heal myself? I needed to get organized. So I wrote the daily exercises. I started writing out all the things that I should be doing daily, like the body scan, and making a list of things that intrigue me and make me feel curious. What does normal feel like? I wrote these questions out because then when I go to my journal, it's easy. I can just, refer to my little guide here that says, okay, so body scan first. So I can body scan first, and then I can make a list of things that intrigue me. And then I make that list. And then I go through, I do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I love these questions. Write down what I want to feel in my daily life. And this has been so powerful for me. Think about what activities I could do to help me focus on my healed self. The questions go on. And honestly, you want an unlimited amount of questions. Don't feel overwhelmed that there are so many questions and so many ways to express yourself. Don't feel overwhelmed. Instead, beg the universe for more, because that is part of the process. And you will see, as you start to unravel in your journal, you will start to see that you want to slow it down and you want to get even more specific. And so just start with one question. That's what I had to do. But getting to know my healed self, that has been the game changer. So she's basically having us write in our journal, who is our healed self? How does he or she, how does she feel? What are the sensations in her body? And every single sensation. She is happy. She's free. She's relieved. She's relaxed. And then I stop with, I'm happy. Okay, she's happy. I stop there and say, how does that feel? Anyway, slowing it down, because we get to know these very, very personal and these very, very loving feelings. We get to know them, and we start to spend time in those feelings. That is where we start to get to know our healed self. The more time, we don't have to do this for very long. I mean, I might be doing it a half an hour a day, but maybe an hour. But the more time we spend with every little detail of the desired feelings, the desired sensations, and, describing our healed self, the more time we spend, the more we recognize that she is on paper. She's in this book, and we are getting to know her, and we are becoming her. And it all just unravels. Like, another thing that happened is she talks about, and Joey talks about in the book, how we have a inner critic and we have an inner supporter. And I'm like, I don't have an inner critic. Well, guess what? I do have an inner critic. And this inner critic, what she does is she's got a couple things that she doesn't want to acknowledge. One thing that I feel like I have found myself by is that I don't have time. And I also feel unworthy of having certain answers. So like if I'm asking myself a question, sometimes I will think of an answer and I will want to change the answer, write out a different answer on paper as if someone else is reading this paper. But then I started to recognize that this inner critic and supporter person, she is one and the same. And let's just make it all supportive. No matter what comes out, it's all supportive and it's okay and it's all acceptable. So even if what comes out just doesn't seem right, it's right. It's perfect. And it's beautiful. And it's you. And it's me. And it is, release. So maybe if it is really negative, write it. Definitely write it because you're releasing it. And if it's positive and if it's wonky or if it's funny, just write it because again, you're going to observe that because you're going to do this daily, maybe 20, 30 minutes a day. I'm telling myself, we're getting to know that our thoughts change. They change. And you know what? That's part of the process. That means we're healing. That means that we are getting to know a new self. The more that our thoughts change, the more we observe that our thoughts are changing, the more we recognize that we're not really actually in the old stuck patterns. We're in a new mindset. This is a new mindset. And then we can start to focus on our new self, and the symptoms, they are less and less on the radar. They still exist, but they are less and less on the radar, meaning we're just consumed by so much more, so many more important things like our healed self. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of how I've been journaling too, because I want you to understand what I am understanding right now, which is that there's questions that we can answer and we can just answer those questions rigidly. We can create our own questions as well. And we can also go into really deep detail with each question, which creates new questions and stuff. And I encourage you to do that. And like I said, slow time down and spend more time just getting into detail with how you feel and how each sensation that you want to feel feels, and so on and so forth. Today, what I did in my journal was, it said to write a list of my desires, pleasures, and joy. Notice them, follow these desires, and experience more joy each day. Take my safe sensations with me as I do these things that make me feel good. So I don't want to be afraid to do the things that I want to do because I have symptoms. I want to bypass that I have the symptoms and just do the things that make me happy. And what I did was I wrote out my desires, my desired feelings. I think I had like 15 desired feelings. You know what I did? I didn't have anything better to write. I could have answered, 50 more questions, but instead for this one question, all those 15 desires that I wrote out, each and every desire, I described the feelings and what it would mean to be feeling that, like what it would mean for me to feel that. So that's what I'm trying to explain, is that is the journaling process. That is the healing process. And I am noticing that I have time. I actually have quite a bit of time. And we all have time. And we better make time if we don't have time. No, we don't want to make time. We should just ask ourselves if we have time. And when we have time, take the time. I was telling myself I didn't have time. And then I was journaling and I said, I want to feel like I have time to do this. And I recognized, wow, not only do I have time, I might have more time in my life right now than ever before. In my past, in my future, I may have less time in the day because I might be busier. And right now I've got more time than ever. So man, was I lying to myself about not having time? And it has made me so patient. I am loving my patience. I'm just a new woman. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna share in this part 2 video, because I'm sure I will have more to share in the near future. So one of my triggers is the screen. And I feel like in the last month, part of the reason why I was doing this was because of the screen and because of my dependency on the screen with my job, with one of my jobs. One of my jobs is taking care of my grandmother, who is almost 104 years old. And the other job is social media. And I am a jumping fitness instructor here on this YouTube channel and on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook. And I do this with my identical twin sister who does not experience PPPD. And she and I work as a team. So I have had this dependency on the screen, but it's not just a dependency, it's a passion. I love it. I love to spread the jumping message. And so, the screen was a trigger for me. It was a real big trigger. But I'm just gonna say it bluntly right now, right here, right now. I don't think the problem was the screen. I think the problem was that I wasn't journaling yet. How am I supposed to get to know me healed, the healed me, if I don't read about her and create her in my journal? So this has been so powerful, and I actually am just so thrilled because I thought that in order for me to heal, I was going to have to get off of the screen. And now I recognize that I get to be on the screen as much as I want because I am healing. And I am finally discovering the healed me. And what I think is also happening is that I have embraced a level of respect for myself. Whereas before, when I was telling me, no, I can't get on the screen. No, I can't have that chocolate cake. You all know what happens when we tell ourselves we can't have something. So when I was telling myself I can't get on the screen, that was when I was doing this because I was confused and I was, focused so hard on the screen and not being able to be on the screen and all this, chaos in my head. When now I recognize that finding time for my journal is actually, obviously, I spend less time on the screen because I'm journaling some. And I recognize that this is helping me to get to know a new me that is actually more productive and is more efficient and is more successful and is more kind and is more patient and is more loving and it's all these wonderful things. And all of those wonderful things are not necessarily me just stuck in my screen. So it's giving me, it's like I in a backwards way figured out how to release the screen from me without having to tell myself to get off the screen. Instead, I was like, I allow the screen, I allow my healing journey with journaling, and I'm just noticing that I'm on the screen less, which is helpful because the screen kind of just tires my eyes out. So that's everything for part 2. I really hope that some of you out there are feeling excited and motivated to get your healing journey started. And maybe journaling is the next step. Maybe it's not. And either way, it's totally okay. Just know that everything you say and do about yourself is perfectly fine. It's totally cool. Take your time. You have all the time in the world. So do things at your pace, just like I am. I'm doing things at my pace, one step at a time, one day at a time. Thanks for watching, you guys. And again, if you are interested in jumping instead with me and with my twin sister, definitely check out our channels, check out our Instagram, check out our private Facebook group. We're even on TikTok, but Instagram really is where we're at. We have a wonderful meal plan and diet plan we follow, and we are in love with our active and healthy lifestyle and the message that we get to share here online. So thanks again, you guys, for watching. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Go get your journal. I'm gonna need another one of these pretty soon here. It's gonna be full. and I can't wait for it. I can't wait to get back into it because I want to and am becoming obsessed with my new self, my new healed self. I love her so much, and I can't wait to spend more time with her. Okay, you guys, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.